Alright, here we are, game 2 between LGD.Fy and EHOME.Keen. EHOME.Keen taking game 1 over LFY. And we get right on into the draft to see what's going to happen now with game 2. As we take a look, Centaur, Magnus is banned out by LFY. EHOME.Keen, they've banned out the Nyx as well as the Abaddon. And the first two picks for LGD.Fy are Dazzle as well as the Sand King. And then for EHOME.Keen, they've picked up that Slardar, and now they've picked up the Juggernaut. So, to me, that kind of seems as though they're going to go with the Slardar 4 position, while Juggernaut will be safe lane. And for LFY, Sand King could be off lane, as well as Dazzle in that 5 spot.
Most likely. The way they played with Jug last game leads me to believe that's one of their more comfortable picks. So it's probably better that they continue on with that.
10 seconds remaining.
Because I would say they're outplayed for most of the game, but their draft really carried them through, and that's an important part of Dota. Playing to your comfort zone and drafting your way to something you know plays around your weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, they were behind 10,000 net worth. It was for the most part of the game, I kind of thought that EHOME.Keen just weren't going to find their way back into it, despite knowing that, of course, they have the empower for Magnus, Ember, and Juggernaut to really just farm back up into the game. And, you know, they played it to their comfortable heroes, which I've seen JJJ play Juggernaut a bunch of times, so it's definitely one of his core heroes. He's amazing at this game, and you know, to see him play Juggernaut is one of those treats that you get in Chinese Dota. And now it's going to be paired up with that Slardar, and we're going to have to see if they can go for a 2-0 up against LFY and kind of repeat game 1, despite not having the Magnus this time around.
It'll probably be a bit harder without the Mag if they don't up their level of play, or find some loophole in the draft that gives either really strong lanes or just like an easy road to victory. Because sometimes Dota comes down to a draft. A lot of the time it comes down to execution. And occasionally it comes down to a tiny bit of luck. Namely DD Runes by Roshan.
Yeah. So LFY, they've banned out the Warlock as well as the Lifestealer. EHOME.Keen, they get rid of that Pudge, get rid of the Earth Spirit. So, you know, we've got these next two picks coming in for both teams. Anything you see that's going to go in well with either side thus far through this draft?
Oh. I could see an X for EHOME, purely because it's good against Dazzle. However, I'm not the biggest fan of doing it with Slardar, just for... they're two heroes that need to farm a blink, and don't really accomplish all that much if you don't do a lot of pressure in the lanes. Whereas something like, I don't know, a Riki would do a better job of controlling the earlier parts of the game. But other than that, I think LGD probably just want to pick up another support here and not necessarily show their core. That would be my take on it, but again, different kettle of fish when you're not in the drafting pod.
Yeah, but I think both teams are probably going to set up to do that. Weaver...
And that could double as both.
Yeah.
So...
And there looks to be the 5 Rubik with the 4 Slardar. But again, both teams, it could be a 4 Rubik, 3 Slardar with Juggernaut in the safe lane. And for LGD, it could be Weaver in a 4 spot, Dazzle in a 5 spot.
10 seconds remaining.
It could also be like offlane Weaver. The nice thing is both teams have options. But I do prefer EHOME's free towards LFY's free, purely just due to personal experience. Like, Rubik in this game has a plethora of spells to steal. Even if he doesn't have farm, he's going to be useful. Slardar and Jug are both very strong fighting heroes, and Rubik loves when his team is able to take fights. They're so far setting up decent lanes. And sometimes having a Dazzle is just not good enough, because the hero doesn't accomplish anything. He's purely an enabler. But The Ricky fills me with a bit more confidence for them because this and Sand King can definitely apply a lot of pressure and pick up on like the weaker support in Rubik.
10 seconds remaining.
And you know, we were just talking about how these drafts could go either way for both these teams. Like you see that a lot in. I feel like not just not just Chinese Dota, but mainly in Chinese Dota, where their drafts are set up to not really give away anything, and any hero could be in any spot at any time. It feels like.
I feel like that's just high level teams in general. Sometimes when you see like the LAN event performances, teams develop their own metagame there, and everyone kind of understands what is happening because they're playing in that event, and that's the only thing that matters. Whereas like, this is an online event,
Yeah.
so you have to cater towards like more niche picks. Like if you remember when Huskar, Meepo, and those kind of heroes were running rampant, you always had to kind of have the flex in your draft to deal with those picks. And that's why I think a lot of the online stuff favors having options as opposed to maybe the strongest heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Because Coddle's been passed over, and that's one of the most broken heroes in the game right now. And I think half the reason is because both the teams like to play a bit more aggressively, or they like to enable their cores more. And it's not a very flexible pick.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah. You know what that hero is going to be doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It's just kind of broken, so it's acceptable.
Yeah. So, Shadow Fiend comes out for EHOME.Keen, Ricky for LGD.FY. Darkseer going to be banned out by LFY. Obviously, you don't want to be up against that vacuum. Requiem, EHOME.Keen, what are they looking to ban out that LGD.FY don't have just yet? And that's probably mid, I would say, at this point.
Some kind of mid laner that scales and adds pressure, so sniper, OD, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they do ban out that OD, and Tidehunter gets picked up for EHOME.Keen. So mid Shadow Fiend, safe lane Jug, off lane Tidehunter, position 4 Sardar, 5 Rubik, and then LFY. Let's see what they do for their mid lane with Ricky Weaver, Sand King, and Dazzle.
I think Sniper would be a really good option for them. Or Vena. Both could work. Lone Druid kind of fits the same space. Ranged hero, if he doesn't go for the bear build, and is pretty hard to gank actually. And scales into the game most importantly.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I felt about the Sniper just because of the fact that Tidehunter, once he gets that blink, can kind of get close enough to Sniper to really slow him down with the Ravage, and Rubik, I would say, or Sardar at that point, one of them will have a blink to close the distance on a Sniper.
You can say the same about like any hero though. You can always get on top of them.
Yeah, but just Sniper.
It's like the team's job. Dazzle gets him out of the fight, Sand King counter initiates, Weaver makes some space, Ricky gives some vision, and that's how you stop it happening. Lone Druid's going to suffer from the same thing Sniper would. He just happens to have an inbuilt escape mechanism and also a shit ton more move speed for slightly less range. Like 50 less range or some shit. I don't know the numbers, but it's not that much. Pretty good hero.
Yeah, and, despite the nerfs, still
He also dumped a Shadow Fiend in the mid lane for the first few waves, which might make the... I'm guessing Slardar move towards mid lane to try and harass them a bit, which will free up their safe lane to have an easier time zoning the tide. And a lot of these things come into the early game. But I do have to prefer EHOME's draft just for like ease of execution.
Yeah, and again, Monet will be back on that Weaver. We take a look over. It will be White on the Ricky. Playing the Dazzle is going to be LPC. With the Sand King will be Jixing, who's looking to be going top with the Caustic Finale. And then finally, super mid with the Lone Druid. And then we take a look over at EHOME. JJJ on the Jug once again. Ty going to be played by Dark. And then over on the Slardar is going to be Rom. So it seems to me that EHOME, they definitely have an opportunity to take this 2-0. They have lockdown again. in Telekinesis, Slithering Crush, and Ravage, while LFY, you know, they have the Burrow Strike and the root of Lone Druid, but that's about it.
This kind of feels like the exact same setup as last game, where LFY pick these skirmish-based heroes with a bit more mobility, and they don't necessarily want to take the big team fights. But if EHOME ever force them to take a strict 5-on-5 like around the Roche pit, that's where they thrive. So I think it's going to come down to the same story. Can LFY outplay them enough in the small skirmishes and win their lanes to make up for the fact EHOME have this really strong 5-man?
Yeah, so Jixing's going to be up against this tied in lane. I don't see Dark really falling in this top spot once he gets like level 2 or 3. He's definitely in a hard sell to try and get a kill. We take a look down towards bottom lane. White Wrong's going to be down here as that 4 with both the Rubik and the Juggernaut. So definitely some opportunities for kills with both the Telekinesis and Slithering Crush available. They might be able to get maybe a kill or 2 on LPC down low and give Monet a really hard time. But LPC here with White and Monet. There's the Telekinesis out there. Look for the Slithering Crush. There it is already with the Blade Fury coming through. That should be an easy first blood for EHOME.Keen.
I don't know, I was just about to say I would probably favor LFY's lane. But the Dazzle can't get caught. That's the problem with this lane. Until he's level 2, maybe even a bit more, he can't get caught in this lane. And now they also win the Sentry War, so EHOME's safe lane's looking pretty safe now.
And it just looks very tough for LFY. Once they lose that Dazzle, a bit of farm goes out for this Juggernaut. They can do it again. And they get
They're
a little
actually
bit...
going to win all 3 lanes. Right, Sand King's going to win top, Lone Druid's going to win mid, most likely. And then they're getting off to a really strong start. Sorry, a slightly weaker start bottom, but if they can win the other 2 lanes, it's not too big a deal.
Yeah, Monet...
Win this lane, as long as the Dazzle doesn't get caught out.
I think mid... yeah, LFY definitely have the ability to win all these lanes. Jixing, he's going to find himself some quick farm. He's already level 3 with 2 in that Caustic Finale. And like you said, it really just comes down to if LPC gets caught out or not, because Monet can really come back if he doesn't have the best of starts down here in this bottom lane.
I mean, despite what I said, the Shadow Fiend's doing remarkably well.
Yeah, 14 and 4.
Even though the Spirit Bear has Spawning Blade, maybe Super's not as comfortable with the Bear. Because normally you'd expect this matchup to equalize when Shadow Fiend gets levels, but for him to start and have this much farm is not something you expect. Like Lone Druid normally handles the CSing very well early, and the harassing as well.
They get the Telekinesis out on Monet. He's going to run over with the Shikuchi. Rubik's going to find himself dead, so Weaver gets himself one. That'll make the lane a bit easier for LFY. There's the Slithering Crush to come through on Ricky. And the Salve has to get eaten up by this Juggernaut, so Monet gets a kill of his own. And just like that, you know, the lane that we thought might be hardest for LFY, they kind of equal it out with with their first kill.
And that's kind of how I'd expect the lane to go a bit more. But they were a lot weaker at level 1, and now they've started to get their run of spells. It just becomes a tiny bit easier for them. And Dazzle probably learned that I can't stand near the tree line and get lifted. I need to play in a different spot.
Yeah, and if they can get a nice smoke screen out from White, get a couple of hits with the Swarm out from Monet, you get the big burst damage from the Shadow Wave. LFY, they definitely have a bunch of potential for kills down here, especially on the Rubik and the Sword Art early on.
And if they can time this where Ricky rotates towards the mid lane when the Lone Druid is looking to hit level 5, then they can pretty easily set up a SF kill if they get lucky with Root. But due to his really strong early farm, he does already have a kilo of Roots. So it's a bit harder of a kill, but it's definitely still possible with a bit of RNG.
So actually we see Ricky, who's hasted up, making his way all the way top. Do you think with a Ricky coming over, do they have enough to get Dark? He's low on mana, kind of low on health.
A bit too low, but we'll see.
He's trying to get himself up enough for that Burrow Strike, and he does have it now. Level 2 on that, level 3 on the Caustic Finale. And White and Jixing, they might look to get a kill on Dark, who's standing pretty far forward.
He's a Tide though, like he's just so tanky.
Yeah, there's
he can do this and it's not too much of a problem.
Just White gonna show himself. There's the Burrow Strike. Caustic Finale slows him down. The smoke screen's there. He's just gonna try and TP out, and you already lost the Burrow Strike. He actually stops that TP with Ron coming in. And Jixing gets the kill. So now the Rubik's here with Rong, and they're both going to get hit by that Burrow Strike. They try to come over to make the rotation. There's the Slithering Crush out on White, but when all is said and done, they've lost the Tide and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, and they free up a bit of space to let the Weaver contest the bottom lane a bit more and actually trade CS. So overall, pretty bad for EHOME.
Yeah, it's LFY who, again, just making this draft, making these lanes, which you predicted are all going to go in the favor of LFY, really start to hang in the balance for EHOME. You have a really tough time coming back when you lose all 3 lanes.
They actually aren't losing them to like a big extent. Though. If you look at the gold graph, it's basically, sorry, the net worth, it's basically even.
Yeah.
So they had the potential to win all 3 lanes, but they definitely didn't.
And it forced both Wrong as well as the Rubik to go up top. It opens it up for Monet, who's now over here with Super trying to get a kill on Juggernaut. And Super getting pretty low, but it looks as though they'll still find themselves the kill. And it will be Monet getting a kill on the Juggernaut down low with Super.
Now the question is, do they trade towers? So I would much rather be the team that has a Shadow Fiend hitting a tower than the other option.
You actually have a double damage out on this Ricky. Let's see if they go for anything. They do have the Sand King kind of setting it up. Gets hit by a raise. If they come in, get the smoke screen, he could be in a little bit of trouble. Wrong's right on the back end. They show this Sand King, and the Burrow Strike going to be short. But now coming in is this Slardar, who's going to get the Slithering Crush out on 2. They get the dust off. Ricky's dead. So Jixing, now he's looking for something as he knows he has Burrow Strike up in 2 seconds. Gets the Burrow Strike, get back, and gets the return kill on Wrong. So not played perfectly by LFY, but well enough where they split 1 for 1.
Yeah, a bit of a botch by both sides, but in the end, not that big of a trade. Not killing the Shadow Fiend's probably the biggest deal, though. He's not taken off just yet, but I reckon if you give him 2 minutes of space, he'll...
Telekinesis right into the Slithering Crush. Blade Fury's there. Shallow Grave going to extend the inevitable. LPC will finally fall, but it's enough time given that they'll get themselves a kill on the Ricky. There's the Slithering Crush, and now they might have to chase back this Jug. Just going to try and get back to tower, and should be able to do so with ease.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It's nice to see the Lone Druid moving around and actually getting active early. Fortunately, it hasn't really mattered too much. Like, the 1 kill on the Jug bottom was great, but that movement didn't really net them anything.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And every time he leaves for lane, Shadow Fiend just pushes the wave in, hits for tower, and he has to get a lot done to make that worth the rotation.
Yeah, and that's Shadow Fiend top of the net worth right now, doing alright with the Aqua and Treads, and farming pretty well. Not too far up in front of Super, but finding a nice split between their 2 net worths.
It's kind of as you'd expect. But the shining star for LFY is the Sand King. He's been playing pretty well so far as well, so even without the dagger, he's hitting plenty of double stuns. So once he gets that, they can start to mess around a bit more with the map and maybe look to start snowballing with some tower kills. Because both their cores outside the Sand King really like the pick off a target and then push into a tower. They both play really well around it.
Yeah, Jixin got that double burrow strike mid, ended up getting a kill on the Slardar. He's very close to that Blink Dagger already, so it's going to be a quick Blink Dagger, and we'll have to see how LFY really use it. Again, you know, they don't have too much initiation, while EHOME.Keen, they have plenty of it. So it's LFY will definitely have to use that burrow strike wisely to start most of their fights, as I feel like that's, you know, pretty much all or nothing.
Yeah, him and the Ricky have a lot of weight on their shoulders when it comes to the engagements. But as I said at the start of the game, they're not a team that wants to 5-man. They want to take small skirmishes. And the only real problem with that is they don't have the best heroes at pushing out lanes quickly. So Weaver's not that fast, and same thing with Lone Thrower. Early on at least. As the game goes later, they'll get quicker and the map opens up a lot more and it becomes easier. But as of now, unless they're at a tower, EHOME look pretty comfortable to just 5-man. They're not at a point where like their items are giving them the huge advantage. It's just their levels and the nature of the heroes.
Yeah, I'd like to see really how the first team fight kind of comes out, because I think it's going to have to favor EHOME with the amount of lockdown they have. You're going to probably go into a Ravage, into a Requiem, and we'll have to see how LFY kind of handle that. Right now, both teams kind of just not sitting passively, but not looking to fight each other at this moment in time. And as I say that,
this is the way LFY deal with team fights.
Down goes wrong.
And they split them up. If this is happening, they're winning. If they're taking 5-man fights and not winning them, EHOME's winning. That's kind of the easy way to dictate this game.
Yeah.
The spectator. If EHOME are not 5 heroes pushing down a lane, they aren't as happy as they could be. And LFY are quite comfortable with that situation. Because despite the cause on EHOME probably being slightly better late game, LFY aren't afraid to take the game later, in my opinion. They can still play as the game gets past 40-50 minutes.
Yeah, especially if
They're not on the clock.
Super ends up getting a bunch of farm. He's got that Midas already sitting at 1,600 gold. He's doing pretty well. Second on the net worth, only 500 behind this Shadow Fiend, who's sitting 6,000 net worth with the Dragon Lance, and now going for that Shadow Blade. Epicenter getting charged up. They're trying to get the kill on the Juggernaut. There's the quick forward with the Burrow Strike, and gonna have the Corrosive Haze and will get the kill. Super's gonna get 1, so they actually get the Telekinesis to drop on 3. But Super still gonna grab himself a double kill, blinking forward with another Burrow Strike out on Shadow Fiend. Could be in a bit of trouble. He's trying to run away, and Dark is here with a big-time Ravage. The Razes come out to get Monet, and now it's going to be the Shallow Grave to try and keep Super alive, as well as the Burrow Strike from Jixing. It gets Super some space in between Dark and Wrong, but now coming through with that Fable is going to be the Rubik. So they end up getting 2 cores on the back end of that fight after losing Jug and Rubik once. So if you take out the Lone Druid as well as that Weaver, it seems to be more beneficial for EHOME.Keen.
It would have been so good if they just didn't try and go for the Shadow Fiend, but they get punished pretty heavily for their overextension. And now Rubik's at a point where he's got level 6, a bit later than you might have expected, but hey ho, and he's starting to skill things like Burrow Strike, which makes the game slightly harder to split off. And it also makes the team fights a hell of a lot harder. This or Sakuchi are some of the best spells you can have, barring the General Assault.
So trying to sprint away is wrong. He's going to get spotted by Jixing. There's the Burrow Strike, but nobody here just yet to follow it up. He'll blink out. White just waiting in the wing, but meanwhile up top, Super's just farming away. He's looking for that Radiance next.
So he is going the bear build. Kind of weird.
That's 2 games we've seen bear build.
I feel like the nerfs to the hero actually screwed the bear build more than the range build with the Rabble change. Because the bear is like not very impressive when it doesn't have a dot.
So
It
they're
kind of
gonna
feels like the same thing as the PMS change. It's actually buffing the thing they wanted to nerf. Presuming that's what they wanted to nerf. I mean, Ice Rock works in weird ways, and normally correct ways as well, so I don't know. I won't question it.
So EHOME, they're looking to take a tier 2 if they lose their tier 1 up top. LFY maybe looking to make a play. There's the Poison Touch coming out from LPC, and there's the Anchor Smash from Dark. EHOME, they're not afraid to continue forward on this tier 2. There's nothing that you should really be afraid of. Meanwhile, on the back end, there's going to be the Smoke Screen as well as the Burrow Strike, but still alive is wrong. The Storm comes through. There's the stolen Burrow Strike from the Rubik with the Telekinesis. They get the kill. So they're the first ones to get a kill, and on a big target like Monet, EHOME, they're just going to look to push and take a tier 2 with ease now that they no longer have to worry about a Weaver.
Yeah, this is a very, very sad Weaver. His net worth is not so good, and every time he shows up to a fight, he's dead. And he's level 8, 15 minutes in. This is like support levels of experience. And yes, he was in an aggro tri-lane, but you generally try and break up the lane to a point where the experience starts being split a bit more equally.
And it wasn't even a lane that went that poorly for him either.
Yeah, it's just... It feels like they're fighting at a time where they're fighting for the sake of it. Because they think they're really strong with this tanking dagger and just like the levels on their heroes. But they're only strong when they took apart the map. Like they had that 2-3 minute window where they pushed bottom, got a kill, pushed mid, got a few kills. And then they probably thought, we only lost that fight because we overextended. But in reality, like, there's no way you fight EHOME when they're... Even 4 heroes, I think is questionable. Even if you're 5, I don't think I've touched on if the tide set. Because he's just a very tanky mess at this point.
Coming over.
And now because they've taken those fights, it's just like, it's stalled them a lot. The Weaver's really suffered. Hopefully the Lone Druid can pull it back.
It's going to be tough, though. EHOME, they have a lot of really good early game to take these towers and continue to keep the pressure on LFY. We take a look down low. Monet might get blown up again if he's not too careful. And there's the Requiem. There's the big blow, but not dead.
Yeah,
Raises.
Didn't reposition. I think his Shadow Blade was too short. I know they go in mid.
Yeah. Oh. Take a look over mid. There's the epicenter used by the Sand King. He's going to be lifted up by that telekinesis. They're going to get feared up, thrown back. I thought maybe that Monet would continue to go in onto the Shadow Fiend, knowing he had no more mana left, as well as really nothing left in his arsenal after he used everything to get the kill. But take a look over mid. The epicenter used. Nothing happening of it.
I'm kind of surprised EHOME didn't go back in after they mech'd up. But they had no real need to force engagement, and now they read that there's no FP, so might as well use our amp damage, take Roshan. Because they still have Ravage, and by the time they take this, Fight probably has the money for his Blink, if that's the route he wants to go. And then they are like, Death Ball status achieved.
So EHOME, they're going to be the ones who pick up this Aegis. They'll get the first Roche of the game. And with that, they're going to continue to keep the pressure on LFY. And really, it just seems like LFY, despite not taking Roche, really not taking that many team fights, Monet's doing a pretty good job down low for pushing this creep wave forward, looking now towards a tier 3 after the tier 2's dead. And now the Radiance comes out on Super. So he's picked up that 50 Spirit Bear damage, plus 250 health, and probably next, if he's going all bear, is the plus 12 Spirit Bear armor.
But he still has no boots on his bear, which I hope he amends pretty soon. He could swap the face boots to the bear and just buy normal boots for his hero as well, but we shall see. I'm really not sure if he takes the respawn time or the armor. I think the bear just dies like way too easily if he doesn't take the armor. But he could also opt to just stop at the Radiance and then start building on the hero. I've seen that done. I'm not so sure. I'm not the best Lone Druid analyst.
So
Refer to Bulldog on that one.
Just short on that dust. There's a double barrel strike coming in from Jixing the smoke screen to follow it up out on 2. But nothing more comes away from LFY just yet. EHOME, they look to maybe go back in while having that Aegis. But LFY, they'll sit back, they'll farm up, and they'll be ready to reset if they continue to move forward past this river. So Blink, Slithering, Crush, Bear getting very low. 500 gold going to the Shadow Fiend. Monet getting hit very hard. Dark, he has Ravage available, but not able to find really much of LFY to put it on. So there's the Blink forward. They get the Slithering Crush on the Bear. That's going to look to be a second dead Bear, but the Shallow Grave comes through.
Omni that shit. Let's go.
And they do save the life of the Bear, the second life.
That would have been huge if they killed the Bear. That would have been like 2 minutes of completely free control of the map, on top of having an Aegis. I'm kind of surprised LFY even grouped up, but I guess they really value this Radiant's timing. And I think they might have been proven wrong to do that with how quickly that Bear dies. They don't really have a form of initiating and stopping them focusing the Bear, because Weaver just kind of tickles at this point. And even if Sand King hits a huge epi, healing ward, mech, it kind of neutralizes it. So this is definitely EHOME's like strongest window in comparison for quite a while. And they've got 2 minutes to utilize the Aegis, which probably means at least another tier 2 push.
White just sitting under the shrine, watching Jug. Shai just farming away, and he's got the vision. Like, let's see if LFY... Excuse me, I got the hiccups, or if they're going to go through on this kill for the Juggernaut. They've made their way over towards mid, but it doesn't really look as though any of the team's going to follow up this information.
Yeah, they just lack damage, and when the Sand King makes that move, it's given away by the ward they have in the mid lane, so he's playing pretty efficiently while his team just takes objectives.
And the rest of the team's gone up top. Nobody making a rotation from LFY. They're going to take this tier 2 tower with ease. We take a look over mid. Jixing nearby to Zhai, but nothing coming of it. They'll get their tier 2 down and TP right on back. Well, with that being said, LFY, they might be looking to take a fight towards this tier 1. It's moving forward is the Juggernaut as well as the Rubik. And there's the Blink with the Slithering Crush. It comes, it hits, and now there's the Telekinesis to hold him up. Fabled thrown through. There's the Corrosive Haze. So now having to back off is the entire side of LFY. They look to take a fight, but they just kind of get caught out in this weird spot and still continuing to come through as Rung gets hit by that Burrow Strike. The Bear doing a lot of damage with that Radiance and will end up getting the kill. So now off that, LFY, they know there's no Slithering Crush. They might look to turn it around. They do have Dark ready with the Ravage, but he's getting low. And if LFY want to make a move, now is their time. They get the Burrow Strike out, the ulti used by Rubik. There's going to be the dust, and they are getting pushed back, but they are still, for EHOME.Keen at least, back by their shrine.
Yeah, irrelevant now though as they've used it, so pretty good poking and prodding from LFY. They wait out the Aegis, they even force the use of the shrine, so if it ends up being a fight around that area in the next few minutes, it's no longer a huge disadvantage.
LFY taking this game slowly. Not, you know, to us it seems like EHOME's the one, the team doing the most, but LFY, they're in and out well enough where, you know, they're close to a tier 3 down low. They're up 10-6. We take a look at the net worth, and despite being down 4,000 net worth, it seems to me at least that they're in the lead.
LFY.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of controlling it. The fights kind of went their way, or you know, like that last fight, it seemed like it was really on LFY to make that fight happen or not.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of dictating the pace of the game, but the problem is, ever since Super decided to commit for the full-on Bear build, they no longer have this we can go late. Now they're on this like strict 35-40 minute end the game, or this hero is now a pile of shit, because the Bear is going to melt this game, and barring insane amounts of farm to make it viable. Like, it's just hard to pull off. And half the problem in conjunction with that is Weaver's not anywhere near where the hero needs to be this game. It's not like they can fall back on that hero if the lone druid loses Bear in a fight. And the Ricky's not scaling from a support position either because they haven't been able to like win the bigger fights. They've played a few really nice small engagements, but I don't think it's enough for their draft to be comfortable. The game probably looks a lot better for them right now than it will in about 5 minutes.
And that's if EHOME, who we haven't really seen be too aggressive, I would say have to make a move at some point, sometime soon at least.
They just haven't like wanted to commit a Ravage when they potentially don't have follow-up. And Tide went for a Midas, so I think they're actually quite comfortable with the game going a bit later. And playing for this window where the Bear gets a lot weaker, our heroes peak with their second, third run of big items. They're in no rush.
It seems like such a slow game right now from both sides. Just very complacent, ready to farm. I don't know. These two teams don't really, to me, seem like the kind of teams that sit back like this. It's very uncharacteristic of the way they've been playing.
Game states demand certain types of reactions, so. And if LFY want to go balls to the wall, then they're meeting a Ravage. They tried that mid lane, didn't work so well. So now it's the stall for Roche. And both teams just try and farm up on their side of the map, be as efficient as possible. Because no one's really made a misstep, it looks boring as hell for the spectators.
Yeah, and you know, we'd love to amp it up for you as much as we can, but
I love this kind of style. I don't need to be sad. Watching map movements is the best bit of Dota for me. Watching people hit 5-man Ravages is like, I've seen it, done it.
Yeah. You know, while LFY are kind of sitting back, Roche, it's being taken by EHOME.Keen. And they do have Corrosive Haze. They hit really hard onto this Roche, take it very quickly, and if LFY didn't make a move quick enough, they're not going to catch up. Like, they've smoked, but it's way too late. They're not going to get this Aegis.
Made a huge difference.
Yeah.
They timed that perfectly. Because I reconnected, I didn't see like when the Roche was up, but I'm guessing they played around the 3-minute window and then they saw LFY all back at their base due to them having the lanes pushed in, and it's about as well executed as you can ask. And now it's just them finding whatever it is they want to find to give them the confidence to use this. Right now it looks like they're splitting up and want to not give away the potential trade. It's definitely a losing game plan if they're trading with a team that's behind.
What's the big play from LFY? Like, is there anything they can really... They're kind of just sitting back and waiting. Yeah, so they have to make an aggressive move like that, but if they move in to try and take that Rax, are they risking losing a Rax of their own? And meanwhile, I say that, they get the root out onto the Tidehunter. They're trying to chase it up. Brostrike comes out on 2, and Dark still trying to set up for a possible Ravage, but he's really just not in the right position for it, and now here comes the Requiem popped from the big-time Shadow Fiend, hitting away at White, but still not doing enough. There's the Shallow Grave, and now the Burrow Strike comes out on 2 again from Jixing. They're going to use that Omni Slash to take him out. Burrow Strike comes through from Rubik on nobody, and they will end up popping that Aegis. The Radiance just burning down these heroes on EHOME. It will end up finishing off this Rubik, so they lose one on both sides, and other than that, it doesn't look like...
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good for LFY. They're still looking to chase down this Shadow Fiend, and they should be able to get him with ease. There's the root, there's the nice weave, and there's the kill coming out from White on the Shadow Fiend. So LFY, they hold pretty well, and they hold well enough.
I mean, I'm not sure how the hell they do that, but I think half of it's the Tide getting initiated on at the start, and then the Bear and the Bugs kind of stayed close enough during the entire fight that he was walking the entire way. His blink was irrelevant the entire time. So
Yeah, and that,
EHOME had no like other lockdown than that. The Slider didn't seem to hit any big stuns. And maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think that's kind of on EHOME's execution, as opposed to LFY being able to do that in a evenly executed fight.
he just hasn't been able to find himself the right positioning for that Ravage, which, to a
Really
point,
weird.
is really all of EHOME's team fight.
I mean, they have plenty of other tools when, like, Rubik stole Burrow Strike that fight, they've got Slider, but I
And even,
think he went full pussy mode when he got it and had to, like, pop his greaves, and, you know, he was on, like, 200 health, and he was super scared to commit.
he's got the higher net worth than Monet for the time being, but Monet's now got that Lincoln's as well as a Dragonlance, finishing off a BKB, a Weaver that was once
That's no
laughably poor, and now all of a sudden is getting that net worth back. We're going to surpass the Tide. Eventually, I'd say surpass the Juggernaut, because EHOME hasn't been farming all too well. Not as
They've been
great in the
farming
last
pretty
five.
well.
Not in the last 5 minutes, I feel like. Of course, they got the Roche and everything.
And the thing is, they've kept the farm up to a point where they're still able to put the pressure. Like, if they just straight up 5-man the entire time, you'd probably see like 2,000 less net worth on the jug. You probably wouldn't have a blink. But it's kind of the difference between people who understand deathballing and people who just deathball because they think it's good. You have to split up and farm. Like, it's not quite a tri-core lineup because the Tide is just an initiating hero, but they have two really strong cores that scale into the game. LFY slightly less so with the Lone Druid committing to the bear.
But the Bears saving their life. The Radiance burns coming out on the Tide. He just can't blink in.
But the thing is, how do they end the game now? Sure, they might be holding and stopping EHOME from ending the game, but that's a far shot from actually taking advantage of your specifically built earlier game timing, but you also fall off like a truck at the end of the 35-40 minute mark. I think it really depends on how the next few fights go, but eventually that bear's going to die in a few hits to like a Daedalus Shadow thing.
Now they're actually going to look to try and go in on this Tide Hunter. They missed the Burrow Strike, and LFY with that, they had Bow Face. And that was it. It seemed like, even despite not getting that Burrow Strike, they had a chance to get something. But LFY...
They don't know where people are. It's a dark map.
Yeah. It's a risky move, but I feel like they need to make a bit of a risky play with where they're sitting in this game.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but it's very easy for them to just look at that and say, okay, we missed our spell, so let's piece the hell out. It's the tankiest target on the team. We don't know where they are. And it's probably better that they did that. We can obviously disagree because we saw them like 2.5, 3 screens away on the nearest heroes, and none of them are massively mobile, barring Slider. And they do a lot more damage than I thought they would, so Tide's much more of a killable target.
Yeah, LFY, let's take a look at this net worth lead again. EHOME.Keen, they're going up towards 6,000 net worth. And over towards mid, Monet should really be careful as there's the blink. Slither and Crush, Corrosive Haze pops that Lincoln's. And just running away will be that Weaver. As there was no real follow-up from EHOME.Keen, just really pressuring them out of that river area.
Yeah, this poor Rubik is not getting any kind of mobility to follow that anytime soon.
Yeah, sitting bottom of the net worth at 3,200.
Yeah, so they're kind of relying on Slider and Tide to do all the work for them. And if this game goes another 5 minutes without any ginormous defining fights, Tide's probably going to have his refresher. Shadow Fiend can finish the Butterfly, Jug can finish his Scaddy, and then they're at this ginormous peak for their entire lineup. And if they can sync those timings to a point where it's within 2 minutes of each other, they're looking in a really good spot. Because LFY have kind of already peaked with their Radiance AC, and now the Bear's going MKB. for, I'm guessing, the butterfly coming off. But other than that, the Weaver still hits like a wet noodle. He's a pretty tanky wet noodle with his BKB and stuff, but you know, he needs a lot of minus armor from Swarm and the Weave to be able to look like he does any kind of damage.
So LFY, they all 5 smoke up. They actually catch a glimpse of Wrong. They'll get the Burrow Strike, but there's the opportune time for EHOME.Keen to get that nice Ravage on everybody on the side of LFY. They're trying to turn this around. They've got the Weave out on a couple of heroes for the side of LFY as well as on EHOME. They get the Telekinesis out, and they will end up losing the Rubik as well as the Sardar. Continuing to move forward as Jixing is going to get that Burrow Strike out on Dark. Dark, a very tanky hero, and they're trying to chase into the Shadow Fiend, the Jug, as well as the Tide. No more Ravage, and LFY, they take this moment to continue to go in. They get the Burrow Strike again out on Dark. He's silenced up, and they will get the double kill from Super. 3 kills go the way of LFY, and EHOME.Keen, they're left with nothing.
That was not the Ravage, that's for sure.
Yeah.
LFY are doing a really good job of like creating very chaotic situations, though. It's a situation where a lot of teams would clump up for that kill, and then maybe they get ravaged at a point where they're a lot closer and they maybe don't pop their BKB, so Ricky's not altered, and then it looks really good, right? They change and just slide out like a 4 or 5 man Ravage. But Jug is the only hero that can really follow the Ravage up, and the Shadow Fiend's right on top of it.
I feel
like they're just outplaying them, honestly. There's nothing else to say, they're just playing better.
I also feel with the Ravage that, you know, maybe after not being able to Ravage in the last couple of fights, he was a bit, you know,
yes,
hovering the ulti button. Like, I need to make this Ravage happen. I need to go in. I need to make something happen for my team. And he does that, and he doesn't get the nice Ravage. Or at least the one he wants.
He might as well just have flown it on creeps for how much it accomplished. So they do have a window now, though, where the bear's going back to base. It's only like a 10-second window, though, because you can TP the bear.
And LFY, they push all the way towards that tier 3. Half health on the tier 3 mid. And LFY, they're healing up. They're sitting back, and they're going to look to fight again as this Roche is back up. This is the 3rd Roche of the game. Aegis and Cheese on the board on that Roche. And let's see if
LFY are definitely the better team to kind of Mexican standoff here, because they can just have the dare push another lane and force EHOME to go deal with it. They want to shove this lane as far as they can and force EHOME to TP. Or they can smoke and try and get a pick off, that also works.
And they'll send them back towards Roche. They're all going to smoke up, continue to go in with the Weave. They're looking at
detection, I don't think.
Looking to find something. They actually stumble upon the Shadow Fiend. He's going to get hit by that Burrow Strike. He pops that BKB, but a little bit late. He's already taken out. So they take out the Shadow Fiend. He pops the BKB. LFY, they take out a huge core hero on EHOME, and with that, they'll head right on towards Roche.
It's a pretty sad buyback. He has a halberd. What? Interesting. I guess he wants to use it on the bear.
They're actually going to try and come in. They get a nice Ravage to come through. Finally, there's the 2nd Ravage to stun lock all these heroes on LFY. The Burrow Strike comes in from Rubik. Gets the Telekinesis out on Super as well. But there it is. There's the Shallow Grave to keep him alive a little bit longer. The Blade Fury out on top of Super. Super's going to be taken down. And now 2 are dead on LFY. They'll take out a 3rd in Dazzle. And Monet just trying to make something happen. There's the buyback from Super. He's going to have to TP in over to the Shrine. As now it looks as though EHOME, they're looking to get themselves Roche. It's very close, getting very low. The mischance from the smoke screen is doing quite a bit for them. White trying to steal it, but not going to be enough. They get the Roche kill, they get the Aegis, and now the Burrow Strike comes out on 2. Epicenter flies through from Jixing as well. Shadow Fiend getting very low. A couple more shots should do it. He's got that BKB up for just a moment longer, trying to get that Requiem off, but he's not going to get it. Now they turn their attention towards Dark. Dark getting very low between the heroes of Super Jixing as well as Monet, and they will take him out. Shadow Fiend locked up again, trying to get that Requiem off, but not going to find it. And EHOME, they end up losing 3. Still chasing them down as Jixing. Jixing's got the Burrow Strike up if he looks to make the move, but the Manta Style is there. He missed the Burrow Strike anyway, and the Lotus Orb will deflect that Diffusal
They
Blade.
can end the game almost. They can get at least 2 sets down. They have 60 seconds.
So
I can't believe they've managed to win this game. They've played so much better than EHOME.
two cores dead on EHOME. They've got the Jug alive, but just the Jug, just the Rubik, there's really not much they can do. They've lost their set of racks mid. They're going to lose this set of racks down bottom very quickly.
Yeah, they can mega them, actually. They push a lot faster than I thought they would. But I haven't seen a bear build in a while, so, you know, it's pretty good at pushing.
Telekinesis comes out, but it's followed up by a barrel strike from Jixing. There's the fear. He's going to try and run away. Wrong's trying to come in with a nice slithering crush, but the BKB is popped by Monet. They're going to continue to look for this tier 3 tower. And then as everybody starts to respawn, they're going to back out for just a moment. Shallow Grave as well as the Shadow Wave comes out to heal up White. And LFY with the 2 racks taken out, or 2 sets of racks taken out, they'll back off.
I think they just wanted to play it safe there. They didn't want the bear to die and then get caught in this awkward position because it was still like a 20-second cooldown. So it's actually not over yet because EHOME can easily play from 2 racks down. I say easily, it's never a good position to be in, but the heroes are more than fine with dealing with supers. They just need to actually take one good fight. And it's a lot easier to say than it is to do, but the way they've been executing it has been suboptimal to say the least.
Yeah, if LFY...
It's credit to LFY though. They have made it as chaotic and as hard as possible, and Ricky and the bear with the Radiance have really catered to that. Every time they want to do something, Ricky's like making that 3-man ravage a 2-man ravage, or he's making it so you can't actually cast it because you blinked into a smoke screen. Same thing with Sladder. Like, I feel like I've not seen any big crushes this entire game. They've always been very spread. And some of that's credit to the bear being, like, he's never near anyone, ever. The Weaver's always on, like, the opposite side of the fight.
With that last fight, I think that was the best opportunity EHOME was going to get in this game. 2 Ravages hitting on the entire side of LFY.
His chance number 2.
And yeah, they're going to look for it again. Do they have both Ravages? Yes, they do.
I believe LFY have a really good read on this. They're all in their base. And the only one who's out on the map is a Ricky, who they don't have buyback on, but he's not a game-losing hero to die on.
Yeah.
And the Sand King can always force it away, so they definitely know what's up. EHOME have 2 options at this point. They either walk down mid with all their items and say, there's no way we can lose a fight like that again if we actually take it properly. Or they can continue playing LFY's game that splits the map up and is based on these awkward engagement skirmishes.
And it's going to be White who does end up spotting EHOME. EHOME going to go for another smoke. I'm not too sure if Ricky was close enough to get that spotting. He's going to use that ulti stop Wrong from being able to blink in. And that completely just cuts off the whole engagement from EHOME.Keen, and now the rest of LFY is here. Here comes a big Ravage, though. He's going to use the refresher. There's another Ravage. They're looking to get Monet. They do. He immediately buys back, and there's a Burrow Strike coming out from Jixing. They're going to get themselves a kill on Wrong, and now chasing through his LFY as they've bought back on Monet. Monet's going to come in from that Shrine TP. They're going to get themselves a second in Rubik, and now chasing down Dark. The Solar Crest comes out, the Burrow Strike comes out on 2, and now they're continuing to look for more, and it is really looking like the last leg for EHOME.Keen. They use that Requiem of Souls. They try to keep this Juggernaut alive. Everybody's still alive for the most part. On LFY, they haven't taken much damage, and here comes the Burrow Strike out on 2, split between both the Juggernaut as well as the Shadow Fiend. They get the 2 kills, and they're looking to get Dark as well, and they will. Nobody falls on LFY except for Monet and them buying back. And EHOME.Keen, they've lost all 5, and it's really very close to the Fat Lady singing for this set of 2 between these 2 teams.
I don't think they can hold with the 3 heroes that are going to be up, so they're at least going to get mega. It's just, I forget the word, I really can't think what it is, but it's just standard routine now.
They're going to lose those tier 4s, they'll lose their Ancient as well, and there's the GG from EHOME.Keen. Blink, Slithering, Crush, but really at this point, you're not looking to do too much as, well, there it goes, LGD, they split it up at 1. And it's another split series between teams. So LFY, they lost game 1. They managed to come back here for game 2. 25-12, 44 minutes in. It wasn't the most exciting game to cast, but, I mean, it was a game. LFY kind of made it nice towards the end, and these team fights were all right for both teams. But LFY, they take it 1-1. Any last thoughts on the series before we're done for the day?
I think LFY definitely deserved to win a game. They played much better in the first, and they kind of just got Magnused. Second game, all credit to them. Like, I was backing the other team the entire way, but they played better. They created a lot of chaotic engagements, forced a lot of like bad calls out from EHOME. I don't know if they struggle for like a captain to like make a call in some of the situations, but they just never seemed like on the same page, and they really struggled because of it. But they've obviously got the individual skill to be playing in this league, but they just seem a tiny bit lacking. Maybe they woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I don't know.
Well, LFY, they're going to DAC, aren't they?
I believe so, but don't quote me. It's not a good idea.
I mean, it's 6 o'clock in the morning for me. I'm not too sure about anything at this moment in time, but maybe they're focusing more on that. So, you know, that could always be a cause for maybe a bit of their flubs. But with all things said and done, they split the series 1 apiece. EHOME.Keen take game 1. LGD.Forever Young take game 2. I'm your caster, Bcop, at Bcop92 on Twitter. And I'm here with PQMZ. And that is at PQMZ_Dota_ on Twitter. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. That's it for us for the day. And I think Drag and Drop is going to be taking over. And I can get some sleep. 6 a.m. Going to go to bed for probably a couple hours. So thank you guys for watching. Really do appreciate it. And we'll see you again next time.